All right, Dan, tell me what you were just saying.
I was saying that if Tyson were here, he would not like this comment. I don't think, I believe he thinks this person is an animatronic, and it might be. Who knows? But I saw a fan casting and some fan art, I guess, or doctored photo or whatever of Zac Efron as Wolverine.
And that would almost...
He looked amazing, dude. He's like muscular, he's short, he's hairy to some degree.
To some degree. He was a good Ted Bundy.
There you go.
In the Ted Bundy show.
And obviously he's got a little bit of acting chops. He's been in some bigger stuff, you know what I mean, besides High School Musical.
Yeah.
Me and, what was the... I'm trying to think of one of the first movies he did after that was Me and Orwell, I think.
Oh yeah. That was a decent movie.
Absolutely,
it's probably blasphemy that we're talking about Zac Efron on our podcast, but with that,
it's probably true.
With that,
it's okay because we're gonna get knee deep into some Disney a little.
We're
gonna
get balls deep into some shit. So let's hit it. Welcome, everybody, to the very first giant-size edition of our Drop Culture QuickCast. We're coming to you live. Well, actually, it's live for us right now, but
live on tape.
It'll always be live whenever you play it because you'll be listening to it and we're actually coming to you from the Drop Culture podcast studios here in sunny Colorado Springs.
Yes.
It's been hot as shit here lately. And for us, it's hot, but then everybody else in the world is like leaving outside and it looks like fucking Terminator 2 and shit.
Well,
we're like, oh my God, it's 95.
So every place that's not here, if it hits 103 degrees or whatever it was the other day, like in Phoenix, that's nothing.
No.
Right? But if that's in the Midwest, the humidity will kill you.
Yes.
So,
or if you're down south near the Gulf or anything like that.
I'm just saying that we are okay for 104 degrees. Yeah, it sucks.
A little bit of uncomfortability.
Yeah, it's like being a little bit like being in an oven.
Yes.
It's real dry.
Yeah, but that's not like where I come from. If you want to know where I come from, if you want to get the feeling of that in Amarillo, Texas, get a dryer, one of those industrial-sized dryer, right? Turn it on for 45 minutes. Then get in it, turn it back on for another 3 hours, throw in some dirt, and sit there for that full entire 3 hours, and you got Amarillo, Texas. But that's in the summer because it's windy, it's dirty, it's shitty.
Well, I will tell you, Brock, that I come from the water.
Oh.
It weren't no easy thing.
It weren't no easy thing.
No.
Toadies, greatest band ever?
I don't know.
One of them.
I don't know about the greatest band ever. I like them.
I love the Toadies.
They're great.
God, I love them. I've seen them 3 times, I think. Oh, man, every time they're awesome. Oh, man. I've seen them in small places. I've seen them in big places. And they always just come to my hometown all the time because they're right there, and they always had a pretty big following. Actually, I think one of my friends who was in one of my bands actually played with their touring bass player or something like that.
Really?
Ooh, crazy. Claim to fame. Look at that. Look at that.
My cousin's uncle's former roommate. What's that make you, Brock?
A friend.
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Man, now I'm going to have to watch Spaceballs, for real.
You're welcome.
I'm going to have to watch it for Dark Helmet. That's awesome. All right, everybody. This week, we kind of waited a little bit to record our QuickCast. It's just going to be me and Dan tonight, too. Our cohorts, as you might say, Tyson and Mitch are going to be out absent this giant size edition, so you're just going to hear 2 voices this time. Maybe a third if we decide to throw in a crazy voice of our own. But you never know.
We do that sometimes.
We waited because, of course, this weekend is Comic-Con.
Yeah, San Diego Comic-Con.
One of the biggest merchandising events of the century. That's
For
all it is.
sure. I mean, it's definitely not about comic books anymore.
I would like to go there and buy a comic book just to say I bought one at Comic-Con, but
Can you buy comic books still?
I don't know.
I'm joking. I'm sure they do. I'm sure you can.
Maybe
but I know that's
outside.
not what it's about.
It's not about that. It's about the latest gadget from the laser tag fellas.
Those crazy laser tag
It's
fellas.
that laser tag. It's coming back. It's coming back.
You and your video games.
and and all your ESPNs and
Well, it's definitely a bigger pop culture event now than it was in the past. It's definitely. I mean, I guess most things they have there are skewed towards comics. You know,
Yes.
but it's definitely not just the comics.
yeah.
anymore,
Don't get me
know?
wrong. It would be cool one of
Yeah,
these days to
absolutely.
actually go if you could breathe in there and
Right.
you didn't like overdose on Axe body spray. Or it would just be cool, you know,
Yeah,
maybe to
yeah.
go to some of their interactive
I mean,
deals.
yeah, absolutely. I love comics, and I also love giant crowds of sardine-like people.
Yes, you
Not
know,
so much. I would go.
yeah.
And probably hit up some of the artists and
Yeah.
writers that.
Alex Ross.
Yeah, and
know,
even
Jim
some other
Lee.
people that
Yeah.
are newer that I want to check out.
Yeah.
But the problem is a lot of those, unless you're a bigger independent comic, you're not there.
No.
You know what I mean?
You're trying to sell yourself too,
Right.
you know, with all their portfolio reviews. And if you haven't ever watched that movie out there, guys, the Comic-Con movie by Morgan Spurlock is actually pretty decent. It came out a long time ago, so it's worth a watch. It's on Amazon right now. Watched it the other night just because I think they put it on because
Amazon,
of that.
not a sponsor of the show.
Nope, not a sponsor. And if they are, cool, thanks.
Just saying.
One of these days it would be awesome.
Yeah, jump on over here, Amazon.
Come on, Amazon. Bring in some of your Jeff Bezos money. Well, I mean, all
I've
the
been in their
news.
Jungle of Death with Bill Maher.
Well, yeah.
The avocado. No, wait, that's the avocado Jungle of Death. That's the Amazon women.
Amazon
Yeah, it was
Women of
women.
Death.
No, it was Amazon women in the avocado Jungle of Death. Classic. Classic
dang.
up all night movie.
Oh, man, Up All Night. You know, I subscribed to Shudder this week.
Nice. I saw. I'm pretty interested in one of the series that's getting ready to
Creep
come out.
Show.
Yes.
Greg Nicotero, man. That's one of those things that I'd been talking about this for the last couple of years. I hope that I was always wishing they'd come out with more anthology shows. More Twilight Zone. Grew up with those. I mean, we grew up with them at night. That was the thing that you would watch Tales from the Dark Side at 11 o'clock on
Absolutely.
fucking Fox, right?
With the
you know?
scariest intro ever.
Yeah, just the weird hand
The black
popping
and
up.
white.
Tales from the Crypt. Everything
Yeah.
was there. And
I
that was
will
what we
say-
grew up with.
I will say that this Crypt Keeper looks a little more intimidating.
Yes.
He's not so like the other one was kind of funny,
Yeah.
which was great.
Yeah.
But
he
this
was
one
more.
looks pretty
He was
intense.
a drawn kind of guy.
Yeah.
You know, I hope Tom Savini comes and does some stuff with it. You know, I hope. You know, I really hope that this kind of continues. And Shudder has actually got good programming. If you like horror movies, they have a lot of good stuff.
What does that cost a month?
I don't know. I think
Shudder,
it's like
also not a sponsor of this show.
yes, I think like $4.99 or
That's not
$5.99.
terrible.
It's
That's not
not
terrible.
bad, and all it is horror movies. The first horror movie that I watched was Reanimator.
Heck yeah!
I mean, I put it on. I was like, "Ooh, Reanimator! Got to watch it again."
that was worth $4.99.
Yeah, exactly, right
Yeah.
there. I mean, I would have bought it, but you
Right, of
know, I could
course.
subscribe to it and watch it whenever I want to. They got some really cool series on there. There's this one series had Glenn Danzig on it. It was really cool. I forgot what the
Really?
name of it was, but if you look it up in their series, if you got Shudder, you'll see it is kind of towards the very, very bottom of their deal. And they show you how they do their practical effects on the show. They go into the history. Like the first episode was the history of Michael Myers' masks throughout the years. It was a
Nice.
Halloween special. They did a George Romero special. They got a lot of really
Heck
cool
yeah.
stuff, you know. So for somebody like us that likes horror movies,
Right.
you could sit there for weeks at a time and just probably never watch anything more than once, you know.
Right.
I mean, because there's just so much good stuff on it. But digressing into the Comic-Con.
Well, actually, before we get to Comic-Con news, because Creepshow was announced before that, let's talk
Yes.
about a couple things that were announced right before that. Top Gun,
Ooh.
the trailer came out.
Yeah, and I think he popped that up at Comic-Con too.
Was it at
I think
Comic-Con? I
it
thought it was,
came.
like,
It was
right
like a
before.
surprise. Yeah,
But either way,
yeah, but
Um,
looks good.
it does look good. The premise that I got initially, like, it doesn't tell you this in the trailer. Spoiler. For
He
the
looks like a
trailer, I guess.
spaceman in it, right?
Well, from what I gather,
Maverick Spachimin.
from what I had read before, he was actually going to be the instructor, like Viper. Was it
Oh,
Viper?
like Tom Skerritt.
Yeah. What was that? His name?
I
Viper?
think it was something like that. Yeah.
But so he's that role, is what I gathered from what I read initially. But it doesn't really look like that in the trailer, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Yeah. I mean, that's Ed Harris in the trailer too,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I mean,
Gotta
Ed
love some
Harris,
Ed Harris.
can't do a bad movie whatsoever. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Plays
he
the
probably
same,
has.
Plays
Yeah.
the same guy.
Yeah, he's Ed Harris, starring as
I'm
Ed
from
Harris.
the military.
Yeah, I got a buzz cut.
Get off
It's
my
cool.
rock.
They all died for them. It looks cool, and I think that this is gonna. I don't know what it's really gonna do. I haven't really put too much thought into it because I think it's just gonna be a good movie.
Most exciting thing to me is that Kenny Loggins wrote a new version of the Danger Zone. For
Oh my
it.
God! It better be a slow version where
and
it's like
that's-
piano.
Let's be
Bong.
realistic that that's really not my favorite part, but I just thought that was amazing.
He's just it's gonna be like all the other remakes of songs that they do. It's gonna be a chick with a ukulele. And it's going to be the Danger Zone, or it's going to be the slow piano
Right.
with some dude or some woman singing really soft. Yes, and it's going to fade off into the distance. I'm getting tired of that shit.
Yeah, it gets
I'm
old.
getting tired of that, and every time I go into a store, somebody's saying, welcome in. Welcome into what? What the fuck? Welcome in?
Am I part of the circle now?
Yeah, cool. Hey,
Is there a
Goodwill.
club?
Yeah, welcome in. You're just saying it. You're not even looking at me.
Oh, I get to join the club if I give you my email address. I see. Never
every
mind.
time I go into a place, and whenever somebody says welcome in, I should look over and say, "What can I get started for you?" Because I'm tired of that shit too. It's everywhere.
I think that
Get
I
started.
think they should say welcome in once they take your email address and make you part of some fucking mailing list
Yeah.
that you didn't.
Welcome in.
But you get an extra 10% off today.
Yeah. Yes. Just today.
Right.
It's Goodwill Super Saturday.
Yeah, right?
Goodwill, not a sponsor of the show either.
Hey, real quick shout out though. Not necessarily a sponsor of the show, but City Loan in Canyon City gave us, I think it's a 2-disc set of the first 4 Leprechaun movies.
Ooh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Which is, funny because we made a little comment about it the other day. And so there you go. Now we have 4 Leprechaun movies.
Maybe that will
I've
come up on a
seen-
show. Maybe we'll do.
I think I've seen 2 Leprechaun movies. I think I saw the first one in the Hood.
Sadly, I've seen probably almost all of them, except for the
okay.
Leprechaun in Space. But I could tell you I can only remember the first one.
Leprechauns in space.
That would be awesome, right? It was just a puppet with Warwick Davis doing the voice.
Yes.
That would be awesome.
Anyways.
Yeah, well, I mean, movies coming up this week. Before we get to the Comic-Con too, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And,
Yeah, absolutely.
We've talked about it before. This is going to be a big movie. I don't think my wife's ever seen a Tarantino movie in the theater, so
Oh, really?
I think we're going to try to go.
Nice.
I've seen almost every one of
I'll
them.
definitely see it in the theater.
Got to.
Yeah.
Got to. I missed the road show at the Alamo Draft House, but my buddy down in Austin did. And he actually got me one of the roadshow programs from
nice.
it, sent it to me and everything. It was pretty fucking cool.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, friend.
Yeah.
Adam.
Adam, friend of the show.
Friend of the show, friend of the Drop Culture show. It's going to be a great movie. It always is. I mean, his stuff never lets you down. We've already talked about it. So, I mean, the other thing that I know Tyson was wanting to talk about was the Boys TV show coming out on Amazon, which is based on a comic book.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they've been showing the preview for that with Carl Urban. I was going to say Keith Urban again.
It's a whole different show, I think.
Yeah, it's a whole different. But it looks pretty cool. I think it'll actually be a decent comic book show that's kind of different from the norm about superheroes that need to be kept in check, I guess. So it looks pretty cool. And Carl Urban is, of course, Judge Dredd. He's the only Judge Dredd to me. And he's always done a good job.
What about
and everything.
Stallone?
No, he was like Judge Dredd PG-13 and Judge Dredd on ice. You know what I mean? Like he could have been
Absolutely.
It was too watered down.
Rob Schneider.
I'm Rob Schneider. I'm going to be the comic relief for this movie that doesn't need it, with Armand Assante.
I'm comic relief in everything, but not really.
I'll never be in a serious
I'm good
movie.
at one-liners.
It's
Cut his fucking head off.
Yes. Yeah, or if he did a Awakenings reboot. Instead of Robert De Niro, it's him. You know,
I thought you were going to say the Animal reboot.
No. It'd be an Awakenings reboot about dopamine or whatnot. And instead of Robin Williams,
epidemic.
Yeah,
Nice.
but they'll have
Way to
a
make it topical.
Yeah, there you go. Then they have like Jeff Bridges being the titular role of the Doctor.
Nice.
There you go. So there you go. Here you go, Hollywood. I gave you gold.
I think if you're going to do that.